What's going on, everybody? It's just another day in the kitchen, back with another episode, and in today's video we'll be taking a look at some very rare Kanye West merch that was in support of a very controversial performance at the Glastonbury Music Festival. Now before we get started, I want to give a special shout out to the homie Strain Beats who's been cooking up the beats for these videos, so make sure you guys check them out. And while you're here, you might as well drop a like and subscribe and join our free Discord to stay up to date with the latest and the greatest. Shout out to all of my chefs in there. Now today's video takes us back nearly 10 years to June of 2015, at a time where we saw Ye scheduled to be the headlining performer of England's legendary Glastonbury Music Festival. And while many fans nowadays would do anything to get their hands on a ticket and see the GOAT perform, back in 2015 over 130,000 people got together signing a petition hoping to cancel his headlining slot. And while the petition's organizer mentioned that Kanye was an insult to music, I was a little bit surprised to see just how many comments there were from back in the day agreeing with the sentiment and mentioning how big of a narcissist he was. Now for some added context, I also wanted to mention that it was only in 2008 that Kanye's big bro and mentor, aka Jay-Z, would become Glastonbury Festival's first hip-hop headlining act, which also saw Jay-Z receiving heavy criticism from some of England's largest rock stars, mentioning that no hip-hop act should be headlining a guitar-driven music festival. So you can only imagine just how much attitudes have changed and how upset some casual fans were to see not only Jay-Z, but then Kanye just a couple of years later. And for his own form of get back, Jay would also go on to hilariously cover the Oasis hit song Wonderwall, trolling the lead singer who criticized him. Now like I mentioned, tens of thousands of fans and English rock stars alike voiced their discontent for Ye being announced as the headliner, but it ultimately wouldn't matter as we would see the festival founder, aka Michael Eavis here, holding up a photo saying Yeezy does it, essentially saying he had Ye's back. Now as far as Ye's headlining day at the Glastonbury Festival, many fans were still speculating on whether or not he would actually make an appearance, and while I was doing the research for this video, many tweets from that era were questioning whether or not he was actually going to pull it off. And although he would go on to take the stage about 20 minutes later than expected, which is still better than the 2 hours late when I first saw him during the Pablo tour, Ye would go on to dish out an incredible 30-song set, which would go on to become one of his more infamous live performances, and not exactly for the right reason, where we would see comedian Lee Nelson crash Kanye's set in the middle of the song Black Skinheads, causing him to kick him off stage and also restart the song, in addition to Kanye forgetting some of his own lyrics and infamously botching a cover of Queen's famous Bohemian Rhapsody. Now apart from these hiccups, Ye would of course deliver an amazing set, even performing on top of this crane here for the fans, and not before mentioning he was the greatest living rock star alive.
You are now watching the greatest living rock star on the planet!
Now, as is tradition with any great performance, you gotta have some kind of a merch drop, right? So Kanye's legendary Glastonbury Festival performance was no exception, as he would go on to drop the following very limited edition pieces that were only available on the day of his performance at the festival itself. And yes, that's right, fans were not able to actually purchase these online, thus making these extremely exclusive. Now, as far as the merch itself, we see the now iconic Yeezus Metallica inspired typography and logo font featured on both the front and the back of all of these pieces, and in addition to the first white crewneck that was available, fans were also able to get their hands on the following hoodie, which you can still find available for sale in some places such as eBay and GOAT even today. And if you are in the market for any of these Yeezus era pieces, just be mindful that they were printed on Gildan, so they probably did not hold up that well over time. Now as far as my favorite and final piece of merch from this Glastonbury collection, we also have the following Yeezus raincoat, which again was only available at this festival, and honestly I think is super hard and I'd love to get my hands on today if possible. Now, with all that being said, and despite usually being able to just shrug off any form of criticism, Ye would also go on the record just a couple of years later mentioning that his performance at the Glastonbury Festival left him pretty depressed, as he was used to being a perfectionist, and the fact that he had messed up the songs was very unlike him, and if anything shows that even Yeezus himself is still human and can make mistakes. And for those of you that are still looking for some Ye related content during this dry season, I've got you covered, and I'll go ahead and link my video covering Ye's Yeezus merch and the controversy surrounding it. Now, as always guys, if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching, and I'd love to know what you guys think about this one in the comments. While the merch itself isn't the craziest for this collection, I think the context and given how exclusive these pieces were definitely add to the story and mystique, and I think they're definitely a piece to own if you can get your hands on them today. Now, as always guys, thank you so much for cooking with the kitchen. Remember to stay safe out there. Let me know in the comments who you'd like to see me cook up next. And as always, remember, it's lit. Straight up. And peace.